No preparation for a round the world tour would be complete without coming to Touratech. So we're here in Ebikon, Switzerland, just before we're leaving to check out a few parts and see what we might want to add to the R1300 GSA. So let's go into the store now and have a little look at what they've got. I'm still undecided about whether to put a tank bag on Storm or not. This is the one that we had on the R1250 GSA, and this one fit perfect. It's 100% waterproof. It's from the Touratech Extreme range. And yeah, I would like to put something like this on, but we're going to have to wait till we get the bike to see what fits, really.
Yeah, it's great for the camera when you're traveling like this.
Yeah, that is the big advantage, is you don't have to get off the bike to get the camera. But we might just leave the tank bag for now and see what happens in the future. It'd be good to actually test it on the bike when we get it.
That's true, and you also have the iconic rack packs there in all the colours.
No trip would be complete without a rack pack on the back. Of course, we'll go for the black one, wherever that one is.
It's by the yellow ones at the end there, but I do like the silver ones they've got there, quite reflective.
Yeah, the silver ones look good. They go well with the silver panniers too. I think we go for the 30 litre like last time as well. It's pretty much as big as you want to on the panniers, but you can get loads in there and you know it's safely waterproof, so we don't have to worry about that. And here's one that's been prepared earlier. Yeah, they're great. They are the perfect size. And if you need to travel when you're off the bike or you need to leave the bike somewhere, they're ideal for going through the airport as well. So yeah, we'll be taking 2 of them on the tour. Puncture repair kit, that's what we definitely need to take. I think I'm going to go with the slime again. Again, they're all stocked at the Touratech shops, which is quite good. It's like a one-stop shop where you can get all the little bits you need, and not just Touratech products, they also sell your essentials as well. So I think we'll take one of them and probably some spare plugs. Hopefully we won't have to use them though, but it's good to have them. Just remembered we need some waterproof bags to keep our documents in, and fortunately Touratech do A4 size and also the A6 size, so that one will be perfect for the passports, and I think we'll put our travel documents in that one, so we'll take them. As always, you should always put a little foot on your side stand so it doesn't sink into the sand. We had the Touratech one on the R1250 and we'll put this one on again. That's a safe bet. These are the other options we have. I think this one is made for the R1300 GSA, but we'd have to see how that looks. But I quite like the look of this one. I don't know if this one will fit though. It's got a flat bottom on it, but I think that's a lovely little size tank bag, isn't it? It's expandable too. Yeah,
it'll just about fit the camera in, and I love the fact it's waterproof.
Yeah, that's a nice little tank bag. I think something like this would go really well with the bike, but again, I'll have to offer it up and have a look when we get the bike. Rock straps pair perfectly with the rack packs. I found these to be the easiest, most secure and safest fixation for packs that go onto panniers. They're so simple to use, and the fact that they're half elasticated means you can get some really good purchase on the straps. So we'll need 2 of those as well to put on the rack packs.
So I think that's about it for accessories from here in Touratech. We do have a couple of other things that we'd like to look at in Touratech, so maybe we'll make a journey up there at some point.
Yeah, hopefully when we get the bike we can pass through maybe even the headquarters and see what they've got there.
That would be cool. So I think we're going to hop back in the car now, head up towards Basel to do some more prep.
For the next 2 years, we're going to be using the BMW GS Carbon Evo helmets, which we have here. They're very similar to the GS Pure helmets we've been using over the past couple of years, but there's a few safety improvements in there. They have this new MIP system, which apparently is a low friction layer that allows the head to move 10 or 15 millimeters in all directions in the helmet, which reduces the rotational motion to the brain. So keep our brain safe there. The other thing I quite like about these is there's 2 different chin guards here, or chin buffers that go underneath. I think one is for the summer, which is quite small and light, and there's a much thicker one as well for the winter, which I guess will help keep your face a little bit cooler. But we're going to put the new intercom systems into there now. We've chosen to go with the Cardo Pack Talk Pros. We've been using the Cardo Edges for the past 2 or 3 years, and they've been amazing. We've had no problems with them. They haven't broken, and yeah, we trust them. So we're going to go with the new ones, and we know they're going to get us through the trip. The changes in this one, I think, are, well, the crash detection is the biggest change here, which works similar to the SOS system on the bike, but you have like a second layer of security there. They're waterproof, they have a 1.6 kilometer range, which is going to be great in case Em walks away from me and I need to talk to her and ask her to come back. So let's install these into the helmets. Feels a shame to rip this packaging, it's quite nicely presented. Oh, there it is. It is, this time it is 100% black, whereas the last one was grey, so that's gonna look quite good against the black helmets. Same bit of kit as always. You have the two options. You can either install it, if you have an open face helmet, we can have the little microphone on like a boom, or you can use the Velcro one and stick it directly to the inside of the hat. Now, we noticed on some of the last tours that the microphone wasn't as close to our mouth as we wanted to. When it's Velcroed on, there's not much you can do about it. So I might install the boom on these. Even though it's a full face helmet, I'll install it with the microphone boom. And that way, if we need to move it closer or further away, then we can do. Plus, the cable is a lot better protected than if you just Velcro it on. So I think I'll use the boom on this hat. There it is there. You can move it around quite easily. Also got a little bag from, that's new from Cardo. We didn't have a storage bag for those last time. And there's the cradle, which we put onto the outside of the hat. Now's the bit I dread, is taking the liners out of the hat without snapping any of the connections. It always feels like you're gonna break them when you take them out. I was also wondering whether I should use the clip or the self-adhesive pad to put the unit on. The self-adhesive pad, you can pretty much put anywhere and it goes on the curvature of the helmet. But the clip in this instance actually fits quite well. And I feel that's a bit more solid than the adhesive. I don't know if in hotter climates, although we've never had a problem before, but I feel like the clip is a little bit more of a mechanical fixture. So I'm gonna go with that. So let's take out the lining first. I think you can just pull these ones out. Same on the other side. And snap them off. And then take out the chin guard as well. Hope I can get this back in later. I think I'll just put this underneath so I don't scratch this hat, although it's going to get scratched within the first day or two of use. Now I'm trying to leave in as much of this padding as possible because it can be a little bit of a pain to put back in, but I think you only need to take off that much and we should be able to access the recesses. The recess on this helmet actually fits the headphones perfectly, or the speakers perfectly. It actually looks like it's made for it because there's no movement in there whatsoever. I think I will put the Velcro pad in there as well, just to secure it. That's the first speaker in there. It fits really well. That's not going anywhere. And now we're just going to run the cable around the back of the hat. Be sure to use the longer cable on the side that doesn't have the unit. So we'll tuck that in there and put the other side on now. We'll put the next adhesive pad on the other side so we can put the other speaker in. As I mentioned before, I'm going to go with the boom mic. So the next step is to put on the Velcro pads here so we can stick that in and then we can wire that up. So I've pre-cut these so they'll fit into the shape there, but you can cut them however you need depending on which hat you're using. Put the first one in the front there. I think these get covered anyway, so they don't need to be exact. They actually stick quite well there. I've had hats in the past where you have to stick them onto like, I don't know, like almost like a greasy surface and they didn't quite stick, even with like an alcohol wipe. And then the next one, put at the back there. And then I think that's going to go somewhere around there. Just trying to keep that away from the fixation point there so it doesn't hinder it. But I think that puts that in quite a good place. Now to clip the cradle onto the little bracket here. All fits quite well. There you are. And that's pretty secure on there. It just avoids as well the other fixation points. So that's as far back as I can put it without conflicting with the other fixation there. And now we can just plug these in and tidy up the wires, and then we can put the padding back in. Fortunately, there is a nice little space here for the audio jack because you don't want that pressing in the side of your head later on. So just tuck the big connectors in and you can pretty much put the wires anywhere you like. Just make sure that you leave enough space so it doesn't conflict when you put the pads back in. Managed to get all the linings in. Actually must say this was quite an easy installation on this helmet. There seemed to be space for everything and everything seemed to fit. Sometimes the speakers that don't actually fit in the recesses that are in there and you have to carve them out again. Some people aren't happy about messing with the helmet protection in there. But for this helmet, everything fitted perfectly. There was space for everything. The linings have gone back in nicely. And I think we're gonna switch to the winter chin guard just because it's gonna add a little bit more sound insulation for the mics. So put that back in, and then this hat is done. And then I get to do the whole thing again for Emily's hat. Feeling a little bit hamster-faced with this new helmet. It's really pushing in on the cheeks, but that's how it'll be for the first few weeks until it settles in. It's actually quite good. The microphone is there now, and I can adjust it. So if like it's not picking my voice up or it's not picking Em's voice up, we can just move the microphone a little bit closer to the mouse. It gives you that option. Here's the finished unit, and they are very easy to put on. They are just magnets, so it goes straight on, and that's solid as a rock. Big thanks to Cardo for providing us with 2 PackTalk Pros for this trip. They're going to be invaluable. Also, if you're looking at upgrading your communication system, they've also given us a discount code, which you can find in the description of this video or in the link above. I'm going to go grab a cup of tea now, and then I think later on, I'll do the installation in Em's hat. So how are you getting on with the route, Em?
Quite well. We've kind of got the general direction that we're heading in down, I feel. Do you? Like, we know where we're going, we just don't know.
Pretty much. We just don't know like exactly how we're going to get through them. I see you've pinned a lot of places of interest already on that, that's really useful. I'm not done for doing that.
Yeah, I think it's cool to kind of be researching now when we have a lot more time, the further away places, because as we know Europe so well, we're kind of just going to mosey on through all the way to Turkey. But it'd be really great if you did some more research on like the roads and the routes through that Eastern Europe block down to Turkey, because there's some incredible roads through there.
Yeah, you're right. We have been through here before. I think we've got some pins from last time as well. There's some great bike roads there, isn't there, in Montenegro that we've got pinned down there. But Turkey, I think we're going to pin all our places of interest, because there's quite a lot of historical sites in Turkey we want to see. And then what we normally do is we pull up the CALIMOTO, and we then copy like the geotag from each place of interest onto CALIMOTO, and it can kind of work out the fun route to get to each point in between.
Because it would be perfect for us to kind of know the route as best we can up until Georgia, I think would be our best, because we kind of have a little bit of that time restraint with visas and things. So I've looked mostly into the visas now. We only have 2 actual visas to do to get to basically to Asia, which is fantastic that there's only 2 to do. So I've got to fill out those forms at some point, and then today I also really need to look, and if you'll look as well, into the insurance and finalising it.
Okay, yeah, we're pretty much set on Big Cat for that, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think they're the only insurer that give you long trips, big bikes, and you can be away for long periods of time. And I think they're actually really good price as well, they're great value.
Yeah. Is there like a specific part of the route that you're the most excited about through Europe?
I'm happy to get back to Albania.
Yeah.
And always Croatia coastline. But I say I'm most excited about Turkey, because I wanted to go to Turkey for some years now, but we never had enough time to justify the long journey to get there.
Yeah, because it's like, it's either you take the train and it costs a fortune, or you need a good, I think,
3 weeks.
3 weeks minimum.
Actually. So yeah, I think we'll have at least 3 or 4 weeks, won't we, there? Well, it's actually, we need less time because we're not coming back on ourselves.
Yeah.
So, which is a big advantage when you keep going in the same direction.
That's true, but I think this then, like, it's a hard choice, Turkey, because the coast is going to be amazing, like, you know, the sea and the islands that you can see, but central Turkey is where like Cappadocia is. So we really need to have that route locked in.
Yeah.
I also have heard that the ACT is very good through Turkey, and there's some parts of it that's not extreme, but like just nice gravelly in the mountains roads.
Yeah, they have that dangerous road, don't they? Which doesn't look too dangerous at all.
Yeah, I pinned that actually. That is the Dark Canyon, and yeah, it's like here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It looks more dramatic than it is.
Yeah. Well, for that one, we could probably have like a base hotel, take all the bags off, and then the bike's light again.
I think that's a great idea. For all of the routes that we want to that are gravelly and off-road, let's do 2 nights.
Yeah. At that point though, is that That's just before we do the service, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, so we're going to try and do the service near here, room.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking of putting, from that point, more like a 50-50 tyre on.
Okay.
So
but we also have the option of changing the tyre earlier. With the tyre, what have we got on it at the moment?
It's got the Anaylisis Adventure on at the moment.
Okay, the really noisy tyre.
Yeah, the wobble one.
Potentially we could change it somewhere midway through the east, like through Croatia, and then change again.
It
just depends on how many kilometres we do through the UK.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that tyre will definitely last us till we get there.
My ears won't.
Yeah, we get 10,000 kilometres out of them, no problem. But even if we have to jump there, put the 50-50 tyres on, and then go back on ourselves for those tracks, that could be an idea.
It's a good option.
While Em's doing some packing in there, I thought I'd finally take a look at some of the equipment for the bike that's been arriving over the past few weeks. The thing that I'm most excited about that arrived is the SBV toolkit. This one is the BMW specific toolkit, but this I wanted for a long time, and I will show you why now. So it rolls up quite compact, and in here is everything you could possibly imagine, or everything you would need to do pretty much anything on the bike. You could break the entire bike down if you knew how to, and I'm not claiming I know how to, but maybe if I find someone that needs these tools to use, they've got them here. Plus, you can do some small tightening and checking, and knowing that all of the bits here will do the job. This is the latest tool rack, and it has these new pouches in here, which can take the torque wrench here that they're supplied. This one is a digital one. It's quite compact. I think it's probably the most compact torque wrench you'll ever find, but it's just there, and we don't need the case for this trip, and that also fits inside the roll. The other thing I ordered separately is the spoons for changing the tires. They also sell those as well, and there's some place in the pouch that you can store those. The good thing about this kit is you have the basic kit here, which is applicable to most motorcycles, but then depending on what bike you have, you can buy the add-on kit, which is like a separate one. You can either combine them two and roll them up and put them in one case, or if you're struggling to put them in the bike, you have the option of rolling them up and having two smaller kits that you can place in different parts of the bike. But as I say, it's got everything you could possibly imagine in here. All of the sockets, take the wheels off, all of the spanners you need, some locking pliers, ratchet spanners, all of the torque bits are in here in a nice order. Hope I don't lose these. I might take a spare set of these with us just in case. And yeah, what an awesome kit. So it's nice to know that everything is in one place and you don't have to think for yourself as to what tools you might need. And they are really compact. They were designed by a guy who was looking for a toolkit that fit his absolute needs, and he couldn't find one, so he decided to build and manufacture his own products. You've probably seen him at a lot of trade shows, and you can see a lot of love has gone into making this toolkit, and it's designed specially for motorcyclists because everything is as lightweight as it can be, and often you have to combine the tools to create other tools. So a lot of thought's gone into this tool set, and I'm really happy that I'm going to be taking this on the trip. There's a fine line between taking far too much and being prepared for every situation and eventuality, and then there's also not taking anything at all and being caught short. Now, the trip we did to Andalusia taught me the need to have the puncture repair kit with you at every time. They're so simple and small. So we've gone with the slime one, which is about €10 for the kit. You have the little strips that you put in with the adhesive. You've got the applicator that puts the strips into the tyre, and then there's also this one which cleans out the tyre before you put the strips in. So I've made a little kit here. I've also got some spare batteries for the keys and stuff. And what else is in there? There's also the kickstand switch for the bike. This is such a small part, but if that was to get damaged, that could be like really annoying. There's a way to override it, but a spare one is pretty small and light, so I'm going to take that with us as well. And in order to inflate the tyre as well, I've decided to go for a battery operated pump. Now it's almost the same weight, maybe a little bit heavier than the Airman pump, which you plug into the bike itself. But I quite like this one as it also displays the tyre pressures that you need. It's quite compact and yeah, USB charged. And I think you can inflate like 10 or 15 motorcycle tyres on one charge. I see a lot of people are using these days and they look really good. The other thing is it also doubles up as a power pack as well, which is great when you're camping and if you run into an emergency where you need some more power for your phone, also doubles up as that as well. So yeah, going to be taking that with us. For the past year, we've been navigating with the Connected Ride Navigator from BMW. And we're going to stick with this one. We've had this box for a while, it's not a new one. We're going to use the existing one we've got. But the thing we like about this is I've checked and we can actually download maps for every single country that we're going to be going through around the world. And I think I'll do that before we leave. And then, yeah, I know we've got the maps for where we need. In India, it performed faultlessly, so I'm really confident that this is going to be a good navigator for the rest of the trip. The other parts for the BMW I've got is a spare shifter pedal for the gear changes. Just in case I break this, the bike falls over or it snaps, I feel like that's a good spare part to have. I'm not going to take a spare rear brake pedal because I could probably live without that or get a replacement. But this one I think is more important. So yeah, going to be taking that as a spare part and we're going to be using the Connected Ride Navigator. There are a couple of stretches on this trip where there might not be any petrol stations for approximately 400 or even 500 kilometers. And sometimes you're not always guaranteed to find fuel on the stop-offs that you've planned. So I didn't want to take like huge containers with us because we might not need them. We end up carrying these big bulky containers all the time. So I found these armadillo bags from Giant Loop. Now they're quite compact, they roll up really small and they're quite light. We've gone with the 4 litre, well it's 3.8 litres or 1 gallon. So we've got 2 of them with the idea that if there is a stretch where we need to fill up both of them, we can maybe distribute the weight a little bit better. They're only a smaller bag. They do a bigger bag if you've only got a smaller fuel tank on your bike. But as we've got 30 litres already on the GS, it might have been a bit excessive to take an extra 20. But knowing this extra 8 litres will get us another 150 kilometres, that should cover us for wherever we are in the world. These bags also have a little funnel attached inside them, which makes it easier for putting the fuel in. So I think I'll take one of them off the other one to save some space. Which brings me to fuel in countries that perhaps the quality of the fuel is not 100% guaranteed. Maybe there's water in there. And also, if you're putting fuel into these bags and then putting that into the bike, maybe there'll be some contamination between dust particles or something like that. So we've got this Mr. Funnel, and this is a portable fuel filter. Now this was recommended by Mad or Nomad, and they've got a great website with some of the products they use, and that's where we found this one. So thanks very much for that recommendation. But this little funnel, it's what, 15 euros I think? We didn't pay much for this off eBay or Amazon. And it can filter 9.46 litres a minute. So it's actually quite quick for the size. This is a small one. And I watched a few reviews on this and it's amazing. They actually mixed fuel with water, poured it in, and the water stayed in the funnel. So I think that is definitely worth taking as it's really light. And yeah, it's important to look after your bike when you're doing a long-term trip like this. There's going to be some parts on this trip where we're going to go through some dusty and mucky environments, and I'm worried that the air filters are going to clog up. So a lot of people have recommended these from K&N. This is the washable filter. These ones are designed for the GS. They're the right size, hopefully. They're quite compact. I think I'm going to carry them and maybe fit them on the next service because the first part of the tour is going to be through Europe, which is not going to be so dusty. But these are great because you can wash them out with the cleaning fluid. And then once you've cleaned them, let them dry. You need to put this little bit of oil back on there. Unfortunately, these are quite bulky items, but I don't see any way around bringing them. So I think I'm going to have a little bag that's tucked underneath the bike somewhere, which is going to be spare parts and things we just don't need that often. But I think it's imperative that we're able to wash out these filters because again, clean fuel and clean air for the bike is going to make it run really nicely. The other thing we've got is this from Giant Loop. This is actually a tow rope. Again, it's quite small and compact, really light. And this has got, I don't remember how many meters it is, but I think it must be maybe 3 or 4 meter tow rope that can really withstand high pressure. But we can use that for other things, maybe lashing the bike on a ship or even as an auxiliary washing line if we need it. But yeah, that little tow rope we're going to take as well because that could come in handy. Motorcycle security is something that's really important, especially when you're doing some long distance tours and you actually need to have the motorcycle. If you're at home and you can rely on insurance to cover any theft, then I guess it's not so bad. But when you're on the road, you need to protect your bike as much as you can. In the past, we've used a disc lock, but it's become apparent that they can just cut the discs quite easily, and no matter how hard the disc lock is, the weak point will be the discs. So I've seen recently the Light Lock X3, which is this D-lock, and this fits perfectly through the front wheel of the GS, which is amazing. And I've seen a lot of videos of this, and it's almost uncuttable without using like 5 or 6 discs. And what another feature about this that I like is the bars on it are actually squared off. So even if the person were to cut through one of the sides, you can't twist the lock and cut the other until you cut the other side. So you need to cut both sides of the lock to get this off the bike. We went with the Ultimate Touring bundle from Light Lock, which also includes this. It's not a chain lock, it's made up of I think 4 cables. It is really light. I'm not sure if we're going to take this or not, because it does take up a lot of space in that it doesn't go down to the size of a chain. However, it's really light, and I think we'll try and squeeze this one in because it offers pretty much the same protection as a chain. It's just really light. You've seen that chains can be cut with bolt croppers and angle grinders quite easily, so that's more of a deterrent. That also is going to do the business with not being able to wheel off. So I think this combination is going to be really good for the Tour. The other thing you can do for motorcycle security when you're parked up is to cover the bike. And we've gone for this standard Oxford cover. This is actually one of the cheaper covers you can buy because I wanted something that was really thin and didn't take up much space. In fact, I think I can get that into half the space when you like squeeze out all of the air. This one also says Oxford on the side of it. A lot of the other ones were like motorcycle or branded, and I wanted it to be discreet as possible. I couldn't find a plain black one, so I've gone with this one. It's silver on the top, so if you want to protect your bike from the heat, at least it's going to reflect a little bit of the sunlight and the heat. But keep your bike out of view. I think this is a great idea. It can also double up as like an emergency shelter if we get caught in the rain or something like that. So for the moment, that's going to be our security for the bike, and maybe we might have a chain as well, but that's something I need to look at a little bit later. So for what's going to be our entire motorcycle equipment for the next 2 years, I don't feel like this is too excessive. There's a lot of this that's essentials that I can't not take, and some of it is consumable as well, which is going to get thrown away or replaced on the trip. A lot of it is also in boxes, so it's going to be a lot more compact once we remove the packaging. But I think this is everything we need to be self-sufficient, keep the bike safe, and to be able to do any small maintenance or repair jobs on the road. So I'm going to get rid of the packaging now and see if I can find a place for everything in the panniers. And I think soon we're going to have a look at the camping gear as well. As an example of how we connect the dots and do the in-between routes with CALIMOTO, just looking at the map here that Em's prepared nicely with the little icons. So we've got this place here, which we definitely want to visit, so we'll probably stay there. And then the next day after that, we're probably going to go to Antalya. There's another point here that Em's put in. So what I do is I just copy the geotag so that I know it's in exactly the right place. And then I've already put the start destination here in CALIMOTO. And then I just paste in that end destination. And so we have the quickest way would cut across, which actually doesn't look so bad because it must be quite a mountainous region anyway. But then you have the options here of going for a winding route, which is added a little bit extra time, but as you can see, it's taken in some of these more twisty roads to the side there. And then you have the last option, which is the twisty route, which if you've got the time, the twisty route always gives you the most fun ride. And with the twisty route, it adds on this extra section at the top here as well. And you can see that it's found some really fun roads there. So given how much time we have each day will govern whether we use the twisty, the winding, or the quicker route. But with this trip, as we said, we've got a little bit more time than usual, so we can concentrate on taking those more scenic, fun, and relaxed routes. So yeah, that's how we build our CALIMOTO route. And if that's just for the one day, I might just leave it at that. I can extract the GPX there and drop it onto the navigator. As we did that in some of the other vlogs in India, it literally takes 5 minutes to make a route, drop it on the navigator, and we're good to go. So I think I'll have a little bit more of a look at some of the other locations we're going to go to and see what interesting routes I'm going to find there.
It's always quite a daunting thing packing for any motorcycle trip, but packing for a round the world tour is even more daunting, and I have spent countless hours over the past 6 months researching and preparing for this trip, and it's all coming to fruition now as I finally packed up the camping pannier. So Sean and I like to work in a way where we have one pannier for the camping stuff, one pannier for equipment and clothes, and then the top box is kind of half empty is always the goal, with just things that we would need for that day. So I like to work in a visual system, which means I make kind of a lay flat of all of the products that are going to go in each pannier. So this is the camping lay flat with all of the things that we're going to take, and everything for camping and cooking all fits inside of this pannier. This is the exhaust side pannier, so it has a slight cutout, but I think it's still around 37 litres, so it's quite a good amount of room. It is less volume than we normally would take on a tour, which is great because it means we're not taking as much stuff, and that's always the goal, to keep the bike light, or as light as possible. So we've put a mesh, kind of almost like a shelf at the top here, and I've put a chopping board as well as a water cell. This water cell that we've got is from Sea to Summit, and I think it fits 6 litres, so that's where that's going to live for really easy access, and when we're using it we're going to strap it on top of the pannier. But now let's get into the main section of the pannier, the most exciting bit. So let's get into the top pannier, and right at the top for easy access we do have the first aid kit, and we also have what looks like some kind of combat kit. We have a hammer, which Sean assures me is just for tent pegs, and we also have the Gerber, I think it's the strong arm knife, really cool and all blacked out. I bought that as a present for Sean, so we're going to take this on the trip. Also in the top here, like I said, we have our first aid kit. Now, we are taking 2 first aid kits on this trip. One will be in the top box and one will be in this pannier. This one I've done a lot of research on before. This is from an Australian company. It's called the Survival Kit First Aid, and this is the handy edition. It's a good size. I don't think you should go lightweight or skimp when it comes to health and safety items, especially on a motorcycle trip. And I've done a lot of research on making sure that we have everything that we could possibly need to help us in any form of kind of an emergency. So in here, it's quite impressive how much comes in. You even got a snake bite kit, and you've also got, what else? We've got water tablets, burn spray, eye wash, all the things that could happen. And also we have in here is an emergency malaria kit as well. So if we do get stung and we're feeling sick after about 24 hours, we do have the medication to administer ourselves if we're in a remote area. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. I think it's quite an important little piece of kit that you always need to have. I also like this one because it's got an attachment on the back, which means when we go and do day hikes or any other things, we can strap this onto anywhere and take it with us. The other really cool thing about this kit is it comes with a scannable QR code, which has an app on your phone which has all of the things you should do in any different scenarios, like from snake bites to any trauma, and Sean and I have both done first aid courses as well, so hopefully we never have to use this, but if we do, we are prepared. Next in here is a Sea to Summit hydraulic bag. We've used these on quite a few of the tours. They are super lightweight and great for storing things, and in here we have 2, these are like the mesh hat covers that cover you from any mosquitoes or anything like that. We have 2 of those in there, and we have our washing line, which we've used on every tour and will continue to use forever. It's such a great basic kit. And then we also have 2 little airlight towels. These are also super water absorbent and tiny and packed down really well. So these are the airlight towel from Sea to Summit, and that all fits in this tiny little bag. The next item that's in here is definitely a luxury item, and some people are going to say, you don't need this, just use a soft sack or just buy a smaller blow-up pillow. The answer is no. We hated our pillows on the past few tours, so we have invested in these. These are the X-Bed Deep Sleep pillows, and they are a memory foam pillow, and they are so comfortable. I would recommend them if you don't sleep well in the tent with the blow-up pillows. Maybe go and check one of these out, because yes, they take up a lot of room as in volume, but they are really lightweight, and we have the volume room. So we are going to take these because you definitely need a good night's sleep on the road, especially with us camping quite a bit on this trip. These are going to be really important. So they're on the top as well. Now we're getting into some of the really good stuff. So in here we have another Sea to Summit hydraulic bag, and this is kind of all of our little equipment, I would say, little things that don't really have a place. They all go in here. So what have we got? Right at the top we have a trowel. This is kind of a multi-use thing. This one is the Juice 2 from the Tent Lab. We've used this on a few other trips, and we also use it a lot when we hike. So this is coming with us, as well as we use this if we do need to dig the bike out. It's good to have something to kind of scoop things out of the way. So this is coming with us. Next thing that we have is our Rubitech coffee drip filter. Now we normally, or we would love to have taken a Baglietti with us, but we just don't have the room, and it is quite weighty. But Sean has said if he is dying for a coffee, he might buy one along the route, so we'll just have to see. But for weight saving and for space saving, this is really awesome, and it does do a really good coffee. So that's coming with us. Then we have 2 titanium sporks. We're not doing knife, fork and spoon on this trip. We're just doing 2 titanium sporks, and these ones are from Light My Fire. Again, we've used these now on the past couple of tours. They're great. Next thing in here, we actually found on Amazon because we were struggling to find anything kind of like this. It is a small spatula that is made out of titanium, and you just pinch it and it closes shut. Super lightweight and good if we're going to be making anything on the road. Next thing. Now, this is one of those things, again, that I hope that maybe we don't need as much. This is the Life Straw. We haven't taken one of these on a tour before, but after India and some other experiences we've had, we want to be doing as much as we can to keep the water we're drinking safe. And this is great for in an emergency situation where maybe you are near a river or you are near a lake and you do need water. This filters out, I think it's 99.9% of pathogens. It is a really cool piece of kit, and it's not too big. So this is coming with us on this trip. We also have its backwash. So this attaches to the end of it, and then you kind of wash it out to keep the filter in a good condition. What else do we have in here? Next thing is the Opinel knife. Again, a classic for a reason, because it's so good. Great for cooking, great for chopping all the vegetables. That's coming with us. Then we have our Primus, I think it's called the Pour. It goes on the bottom of our stove, and then the stove sits on top. So if you're on uneven or rocky ground, the stove just kind of sits on here. This again is titanium, super lightweight. So we're going to be bringing that with us. And then we also have in here, this is our shield. It packs down really small. I actually can't remember where this is from. And then you just open it out, and that goes around your stove to keep the flame not affected by the wind. The last thing in this bag is a stainless steel straw. Again, a bit of a luxury, but if you would like a drink while you're in your helmet and you buy like a Coke on the side of the road, it's a great little addition, and I do use it a lot on the trip. So that's coming with us, and that's everything that's in this bag. So also in the top here, we have our stove. I've just put this into a 13-litre lightweight Sea to Summit dry bag because they can get a little bit smelly with the fuel. And also if it does get dirty, it's just clean then in the panniers. So the next thing in the bag is a 3-litre Sea to Summit dry bag, the same type that the stove is in. And then we have probably my favourite new addition. These are Snow Peak. If I can get them out. This dry bag only just fits it pretty perfectly. Here it goes. So these are the Snow Peak titanium pots and pans, and we've used a giant loop strap to keep them together and to stop them from rattling, which looks, I think, pretty cool actually. So you just unhook the strap here, and then we have the pot. So we have a frying pan on the top, and then inside that is a even smaller frying pan. And then inside that is 2 silicone lids for our coffee cups, which are also in here, and another pan. How cool is that? So we have two large pans. I think one is 900 milliliters and the other one is 700. They slot in there, and then inside this little mesh bag, we have our Snow Peak dual wall titanium mugs. Again, these are a bit of a luxury, but they're a luxury I really enjoy having. I love having a coffee when we're on the side of the road, and this keeps it warm so that you can make your coffee and then make your food, and then your drink's not cold when you're ready. So inside of this one is another smaller one, and inside that we have matches, a salt, two different types of fire starters. So this is the MSR one, and this is the Primus, kind of old school cool one where you strike it and the spark comes out. And then we also have this, which is to keep the pans clean. And again, this never smells, but steel wool is also great, but this one just lasts a little bit longer. And all of that fits in here, which fits in there and there, and the lids go back on. I think I probably could fit something else in the lid, but that's all we need. So that's our whole setup for the cooking. The other thing that goes in this pannier is our Matador mat. So this is tiny but very, very mighty from Matador. It goes out to quite a good size, but it's perfect for when you arrive at the campsite and you want to get things out of the panniers, but you don't want to put them on the floor. You can just throw this like picnic style blanket out and then put everything on it. So this is awesome. Again, we took this on heading north, heading south. This one is really cool. And the other thing that fits in this pannier is the SPV toolkit. Now, I think Sean is going to talk more about this. This is his favorite thing that has come for this tour. So that always also fits inside this pannier, which is really cool. The last two things in this pannier, you would not believe, are actually two giant sleeping bags. Now, we use the Thermarest sleeping bags. They are, I want to say -6. They're a chunky sleeping bag. They're these ones on here, the blue ones, and we can fit two of them inside of this. This dry bag is from Exped, and you can kind of see there's a valve on it, so you can squeeze all of the air out, do the straps on it, push it, and all of the air seeps out of this, and then you can lock it shut and it kind of stays in whatever position you mesh with. So we've kind of positioned it so that that cutout of the exhaust kind of wraps around here, because otherwise you're kind of losing a few litres of space if you don't do it this way. So there are two sleeping bags. They are in here. And then, last thing, this is our tent. So this is the MSR Hubba Hubba tent, and inside it is a double sleeping mat. How cool is that? Everything fits inside of this, and it all fits in the bottom perfectly. And that's basically everything that we have for camping, other than our lights, which I'm going to talk about now. So the last thing I want to talk about is this little box. So this box lives in the top box for a couple of reasons, and this is our lighting and kind of, I would say, small accessory box. And we have, I think these are so cool. This is the Night Core lantern. Now, I was looking specifically for a lantern for the tent because when you're working at night or you want to read, you don't want the bright light of your head torch. This is awesome. Like, I have never loved a lighting product as much as I love this. So it's a lantern that has 3 different settings. It also goes warm as well. You can also, though, turn it into a torch with the click of a button. Which button though? This one. How cool is that? So now it's a torch, but it goes up so bright. And if you double click it, it gives you an incredible amount of lumens. So I bought this. It's got also a little strap so you can carabine it onto the center of the tent, and it also doubles up as a battery pack. So it's giving multiple uses as well as being a really cool little feature. You can sit it up on the table when you're having dinner. Oh yeah, I'm really happy with this. I love it. So that's one of the things that we bought new for this trip. Also in this box, we have a present that Sean bought me for our wedding anniversary last year, which is the Sunto MB6 Global Compass. That's going to be coming with us. We have a packet of playing cards because there's nothing better than playing a few rounds of cards around a campfire, which we plan on doing a lot. We have 2 sets of loop earplugs for on the motorcycle, as well as if we're in a noisy area, like if you camp by, I don't know, like a waterfall, or if you need to camp by a road, one of us can wear a pair of earplugs to get a good few hours sleep, as well as it's great for on the bike or even in noisy hotels. The next thing, these are new Nightcore head torches. Again, I did so much research on lights, lumens, head torches, and it's so hard to find a good head torch that's also USB-C capable. We're trying to have the least amount of cables that we possibly can for this trip. Obviously, with us filming everything, we need a million cables. So having a dedicated cable just for your head torch or your headlight didn't really work for us. But I found these from Nightcore. They are a new product. And, oh, what was that? Oh, it's the clip. So, first of all, they're a gorgeous colorway. They're gray and white. They completely tilt down and are super bright on the, hold it down. They're super bright. I think they're 300 lumens, or they might actually be even more than that. It's got a red light. It's also got this the tilting feature, which is pretty standard, but it also comes with a clip, so you can detach it from the band and just like have it on your backpack or have it on you when you're walking around. I thought that was a cool feature. But the other feature that I didn't know it had until it arrived, you can turn them on, put them inside the bag that comes with it, and then you can hang that in your tent or somewhere outside as a little light. How cool is that? So we've got 2 of those. They're coming with us because we plan on doing quite a lot of hikes and other outdoor activities on this trip, so they're great to have. So yeah, I think that's about it when it comes to camping equipment. I need to double check with my list that I've gone through everything. I think we're also missing some wilderness wash, which I need to pick up in the next few days. And Sean is also going to be carrying a pocket knife or a pen knife from Victorinox for the entire trip as well. But yeah, that's about it. Overall, really not a lot. We've done our very best to keep everything as minimal as we possibly can, but still kind of preserve the integrity of having fun and not wanting to share a spoon or, you know, really scrimping on everything. We've got everything to keep us warm, to keep us safe. And yeah, I'm quite happy with our camping setup for this trip, and I'm even more happy that everything fits so nicely into this pannier. So now we only have to pack up the equipment and clothing pannier, and we also have to pack up the top box.
Always excited to be in the garage with the bike. And although we accept over the next 2 years he's going to get scratched and bashed and scraped, we're going to put a protective film on the tank here, as the tank is pretty beautiful, and this is where most of the wear is going to come from legs or from things hitting the bike. And I found a German company that sells these plastic pieces that you can actually install yourself. And if you're watching this, that means that the installation went well and we're going to use this video. But it's from a company called Touratech Systems, Schutzfolie in German, or protective film in English. And I'm going to follow the instructions on this one. So first of all, we need to have a clean, grease-free surface. So I'm going to use this. This is a light cleaner from one of my camera lenses. I think it's not going to be too aggressive on the tank. And a microfiber cloth. So get that nice and clean. I don't think there's any grease on there or anything. There's already a few marks, I think, from my legs already, so it might be a good idea to put that on. I've got a clean cloth here, just to make sure there's no other bits on there. I've actually vacuum cleaned the garage, so that there's no dust being kicked up. The garage has never been cleaner. All right, let's put that on there. They do say you should start off with the smaller pieces as a practice go, but I thought I'd just go in with the big piece. So it's going to go somewhere along there. Film should be fully aligned and centered to the screening. Lay the film onto the panel on the side and make sure that the film stays 1 to 2 millimeters from any edges. Spray once you are satisfied with the film with some more solution, and then do the thing. Okay, so the kit comes with some fluid here. Well, not some fluid, it's like washing up liquid inside, I think, some sort of soap, and you add the water to it, some warm water. Basically, I'm going to spray the tank with this, and then I'm going to peel off the film and then spray that as well. And I think everything is soaking wet with this fluid, and you can kind of like move it around. So that's the first step. So yeah, here we go. I feel like I've got one shot at this, but I don't know. Oh yeah, the other tip was to spray your fingertips so you don't get your fingerprint on the film. We'll do the bike first. I think you put a generous coating on there. Peel that off and do not drop that on the floor or crease it. There's a cut out there for the GS on the tank. Okay, you put that on here. I've also cleaned this so it's dust free. And you spray this as well. Right, here we go. So offer this up in approximately the right position. I think it moves around, so it's not too crucial. Okay. Just make sure those bits are the right to take the shape of the tank. You can see the air bubbles in there.
The film should be fully aligned and centered in front of squeegeeing. Lay the film onto the panel and slide into position. Make sure the film stays 2 millimeters away from any edges. Spray once you are satisfied with the positioning of the film some more fitting solution onto the face of the film to make the squeegee better to slide. Attention, to avoid possible grooving, make sure there is enough spray on the face while squeegeeing. The film will then position itself nicely around the curved part after squeegeeing it again. If the film on the edge doesn't adhere nicely, press your thumb for 30 seconds on that spot. Your body temperature will activate the adhesive. Make sure to remove any fluid or air bubbles under the film. Yeah, I mean... Thank you.
When you put your head down. Let's try and get these bubbles out now. I'm hoping it takes the shape of this, but it's a very trust exercise.
Once you are satisfied with the position of the film, some more fitting solution onto the face of the film to make the squeegee better to slide. Take the relatively flat panel first. Mostly you start from the centre of the film and work towards the edge. Squeegeeing using short strokes and suitable pressure. On a curved panel you need more pressure. On a very curved panel, first squeegee the fluid onto the flattest part and use your flat hand to stretch the film. The film will then position itself nicely around the curved part after squeegeeing it again. If the film is on the edge, it doesn't adhere, press your thumb for 30 seconds on the spot and your body temperature will activate the adhesive.
Seems to be taking the shape quite nicely so far.
That's good. It says continue working the film until all areas are secured, then dry off any excess fluid with a paper towel. We don't have any paper towels.
Well, we have a cloth there.
Oh, okay. Oh no, that looks good.
I'm just concerned about this bit about the radius.
It says if there's a part, put your thumb on it and then heat it up a bit. But when you're looking at it like this, you can't even see that there's anything on it.
No, it looks really good, doesn't it? I'm quite impressed so far.
He says with hope. Yeah, but it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it?
I think there's a bubble here. But I guess we're not at like the final step yet, are we?
No, oh yeah, there is a bubble.
It says, step 8, make sure to remove any fluid or air bubbles under the film. If you find that the film is incorrectly positioned, you can, within maximum 10 minutes after start, peel off the film using a quick jerking motion.
Oh, well, I think we're past our 10 minutes.
It says continue working the film until all areas are secured and then dry off any excess fluid with a paper towel. Finally, you can use the hairdryer. I don't think we're quite at the hairdryer stage yet.
No, not far off.
I'm quite impressed though.
Yeah, that for a DIY protection, that's not bad, is it?
I feel like some men might have had a meltdown though at this point.
I think I might, have a meltdown.
It's like when you put It's like a giant phone screen protector,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, that cost 100 quid. Like that needs to be pulled off.
Do you want me to have a go? Little fingers.
Just watch that ring.
Oh yeah. I should have taken my ring off at the start. Did you take yours off?
I did, yeah. Right, it's on, and the last stage is to put some heat on it. So we borrowed the hairdryer from M, and just going to warm it up, and apparently that activates the adhesive so it doesn't come off. We have to do a bit more care on the corners and stuff around the edges. I think it might just help take the stress out of the plastic around where the corners have gone. So we'll just warm it up now. Right, well, it's on. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but at the same time, it's not too bad either. It is going to protect the tank somewhat. Maybe a professional would be able to do it perfectly, but it seemed like when I warmed it up, there's a few little bubbles appeared again. And I think if I spend any more time pressing it and scraping it, it's going to start damaging it further. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's not peeling off anywhere, so that's good. Where it is on, I think in natural light as well, you can't really tell, but if I wasn't doing a world trip with it where it's likely to get bashed, I don't think I would bother unless you maybe get it done professionally, or if you're actually that bothered in the first place.
Do you reckon when we're in Kazakhstan we'll be like, I'm really glad I put
that on its hair, but anyway, the sand's just taken all of this things off. Important is that bottom bit has to be the right width.
Okay. Shall I hold the bottom bit then? I like these bits more than the side panels.
That's because they go on well. You haven't got like a massive surface to...
No, I mean like, I think that this gets a lot of abrasion.
Right.
And here gets a lot of abrasion, right? Yeah. Not here as much on the top.
True that.
I mean, it was my idea to put these on, sorry.
Okay.
I need to leave all of the Facebook groups.
Why is that?
Because people saying about the tank getting scratched and
right.
all of
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
That one looks spot on.
Stop it. Stupid alarm.
You expect it?
I did, yeah. I asked for that. Literally asked for it.
Okay, so Sean's gonna do the other side now, and I am gonna go and make us some dinner. I think that's enough preparing the bike for tonight. I'm not sure what we'll get up to tomorrow, but probably a bit more packing. Yeah, I'm glad we put this wrap on. I do think it's a good idea, even though it's a pain to do. And Storm likes it too, apparently. It's time to talk about the clothing pannier and the clothing that we're going to take on our round the world trip. Now, we use the non-exhaust side pannier for packing our clothes as well as 2 laptops. Now, there's going to be people that are going to watch this video and they are going to be screaming at their phone or at their TV saying that we're taking too much. Now, packing clothes for any trip is difficult, but packing for a world tour with different climates and different situations is even more difficult. So if you said to me, Emily, I'm gonna go on a 3-week bike trip and I just wanna be on my bike every day. I wanna ride all the passes and all the best roads and I wanna do 500 kilometers a day. What should I bring? I would tell you to bring 2 quick dry tops and a pair of underwear because that's all you'll really need, and maybe a jumper if you're going to a colder climate. But if you're going on a 3-4 week grand tour of Europe and you wanna go to the coffee shops, the museums, into the castles, and you also wanna do a bit of hiking on the side and hit the beach, that's just not going to cut it. And there is a balance, and it's a hard balance to take and it's a hard balance to do. I think I've got it down to a fine art at this point. I love clothes and I love dressing up and feeling beautiful like everybody else does. So this is how I pack for any motorcycle tour, but it's also how I'm going to be packing for the round the world trip. It might not work for you, and that is my disclaimer, but I'm going to give you all my best tips that make it easy for me and mean that I only carry 1 packing cube per person on a motorcycle tour. So I'm going to try and do this really quickly because I don't want to talk too much about the clothes because it's going to be so different for everybody. But for Sean and I, we try and pack a colour scheme or a capsule wardrobe each instead of focusing on outfits, because I find when we focus on outfits, we tend to pack a lot more. So this way we have a basic wardrobe with us, and if when we're in America or we're in Bali or the Middle East and we decide that we need to buy a few extra things, they'll all slot into our basic wardrobe and be able to enhance it without us having to completely change what we've already bought with us. Now, this is wow, this looks like quite a lot, and I promise you it's not. So this section at the end here is all motorcycle clothes. So these are our waterproofs and our pants, and also my jacket here. Sean's jacket is here. We're going for the BMW Rally on this world trip. It is one of our favorite all-time suits, and it's a perfect all-rounder for this type of world tour. So that's the suit that we're going to be taking, and we also have the waterproofs there. The next thing is kind of a mix match of Sean and mine's clothes, so let's talk through them a little bit. For me, on any tour, I always carry a little black dress. For this tour, I've decided to go with a linen dress just because it's cool in the warmer climates and it's classic. For me, whenever I'm planning my outfits, I try and think, if I look at this photo in 10 years time, will I be annoyed with myself that I was wearing a trend or neon or whatever? Because when I look back at my mum's photos from when she was traveling around America at my age, she looks so elegant and so beautiful and so classic, and I try to emulate that, even though I never will be as classy or as elegant as my own mum. So I've kind of gone with this vibe. It's a very simple silhouette, it's A-line, and if you're thinking of getting one, make sure you get one that fits your body type and makes you feel really special. This one I love, and I am going to get it taken up a little bit when we're back in the UK. So this is my dress for the trip. The next thing is new for this trip. They are sun hoodies. Now I think these are a little bit more of maybe an American product or a fishing product. I hadn't really heard of them too much. I'd obviously heard of fabrics that keep the sun off you, but these are sun hoodies. This one is inside out. I must have put that back wrong. This one is from Arc'teryx, and so is Sean's. It's the wrong way around, and we've gone for green and grey on these. These are really cool because they have full coverage hood, and a lot of men, including Sean, get burnt on the back of their neck. So this way, when he's riding, he can put the hood up and he won't get any sunburn on his neck. So these are coming. Again, they're in a quick dry fabric, so we can wash them really quickly and they pack down tiny. As for me, I have one quick dry vest, which will be the top I majority wear on the bike, but I will buy one that has a cap sleeve and that's just black quick dry as well. Here we have a white thermal layer. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be taking this, or I might ask someone to ship it out to me when we're in the colder climates, but this is a fantastic little thermal layer in white. Then I also take 2 sports bras, and I'm taking a bikini on this trip. I will swap my swimwear regularly throughout the trip, maybe pick up different ones depending on the culture and depending on where we are in the world. And I also have 2 sports bras. I'm not going to be taking the white one though, I'll only take the black one. The next thing is a staple for me. It's a linen white shirt. Now, white on any trip brings a lot of anxiety. That's why you'll see majority black clothes. This just adds a little bit of luxury. I put it on with my black dress, or I can put it on with a pair of black leggings, and I feel put together. So this is something that I always bring, even though it brings me so much anxiety, and why you'll see me mostly in black, because when you're in the cool cafe or, you know, a restaurant in Istanbul and they bring you this gorgeous falafel wrap with loads of tahini sauce and pickled cabbage, and you think, oh, I've got a white t-shirt on, I'm gonna have to be careful. I don't want that anxiety. So that's why you'll see me in black most of the time, because I am messy. The next 2 things, you have seen us in these a lot, and they are a staple for us. They are the Patagonia down hoodies. These are amazing. They're very expensive, but they're worth it. I haven't replaced them in 7 years. They are just top. They're absolutely fantastic. I love these. And I also have one as well. For shorts, Sean is taking the Patagonia baggies. I did a lot of research on men's shorts, and I've gone with these because he can wear them in the city as well as he can jump in the sea or in a pool in them. They're a dual function short, which I think is really cool. They're a really great fabric. They pack down tiny, because a lot of shorts, especially men's shorts, when they have this big ruching area, they don't dry very well. This one is a lot thinner than most, so hopefully they dry a little bit better. For me, I have gone with 2 pairs of shorts. I know, luxury, but they do pack down really small. These are hemp and they are also from Patagonia. And I've also gone with a pair of sport shorts that I can wear hiking or to the gym or to the city, dependent on the city, maybe through Europe. So I also have them. Then I'm taking 2 vests, one white and one black. Again, this might change. I might swap out the white vest for a t-shirt. I'm gonna go shopping when I'm back in the UK, but these are the basic staples that we're gonna be taking. I'm also taking for Sean, you saw him in this, I call it his Indiana Jones shirt, like an adventure shirt. This one is from Craig Hoppers, a brand that I absolutely adore. All of their stuff is made with adventure in mind and functionality in mind. So this one is like sun-proof. It's also mosquito-proof, I think, as well. It's got loads of cool hidden gadgets and pockets. These are really cool. This is the NOS Life Adventure. They do run a little bit big, so if you do buy one, keep that in mind. And yeah, I like that. I think it's really cute. The next thing Sean is taking is 2 pairs of pants, which seems excessive, but these only weigh around 150 grams, and I think one of them weighs 120 grams for the colder climates. So they're both from Solomon. This is just a plain pair of black classic pants, and he has a pair of green wider fit, a bit more cooler pants for hiking and for maybe in the cities. But I love these because he can put them on with a shirt and he can literally go to the opera in them, because they just look like any plain dress pant, but they are quick dry, which is always the goal. So they're coming with us. And Sean has a quick dry black top, which will be his riding top. And I am taking this. This is the Houdini jacket from Patagonia. If you read any of the blogs about like adventure clothes, this comes highly recommended because it packs down to absolutely nothing. I bought it for me because I get so cold that I wanted another kind of windproof layer that I could wear either over my down jacket or just as a wind block for in some of the countries that we'll be in. So that's coming with me. And then I also have 2 final things. Yes, we have matching jumpers. I can hear it in the comments already, but these are the R1s from Patagonia. Highly, highly recommended. Pretty cool fabric, come up really high on the neck so they can be really snuggly, and got a great hood on the back and what we are calling the microphone pocket, because putting a microphone there is actually the perfect spot for it. So these are our 2 hoodies for the next 2+ years. Now, there are a few other things that we take. I take 2 pair of leggings and a couple of extra t-shirts, but everything we bring fits into a small packing cube from Matador. We used to use the Eagle Creek ones, but we've changed now. The panniers have changed shape a little bit. We'll be taking 2 pair of shoes. So 1 pair of shoes for me, 1 pair of shoes for Sean, and I'll also be taking 1 pair of flip-flops for in the showers or at the beach. Other than that, that's about it. Like I said, packing is going to be really different for everybody. For me, I like to view it as what's going to serve me on the trip, what's going to make me feel good, and what's going to work really well. So I want to be able to hike in my clothes. I want to be able to dance around a campfire in my clothes. I also want to be able to go to the opera or to a really fancy restaurant on date night with Sean in my clothes. And then the next day I want to go to some hipster cafe in Belgrade and have an amazing time there. I want to be able to experience and do anything. And I would hate to be sat in a hotel or at a campsite thinking, oh, if I'd have just brought that 200-gram dress, then I would be able to feel a lot better. It's a real balancing act, and you have to do what's right for you and right for your tour. It's going to be different for everybody, and there's no judgment. We listen and we don't judge. But this is what I'm taking, and I'm really, really proud of it, to be honest. I think both of us have made a lot of sacrifices when it comes to clothes for this, but overall we're going to look classy, timeless, elegant, But at the same time, we're going to be warm and comfortable because they're the most important things. So yeah, that's about it. The other thing is cosmetics. Now, there was a comment on a video we did for, I think, heading north, we were packing. Somebody commented that, oh, we take too many cosmetics. If you only need a bar of soap and a toothbrush, you do you, like, that's awesome. I don't want to do that. I like my skin. I'd like to be able to have a face wash that doesn't irritate my skin, and I'd like to be able to carry sun cream and shampoo and conditioner and other things that we need. I have managed to get down my makeup kit and all of the cosmetics that we need into this bag, as well as I'm also carrying sanitary items as I'm a girl, so they also take up room and are something to consider. So everything goes down into this. This is the North Face BCV toiletry kit. It's pretty cool actually, I'm quite happy with it, and it slots perfectly upwards in the pannier because it's a square shape. So many toiletry bags are round, and with the panniers, round stuff doesn't really work very well. So always try and keep your cosmetics cases or your packing cubes as square as possible. It's going to work the best and make sure that you get the most room. The other thing I want to briefly talk about, which is a strange thing to talk about, but I also think it's quite interesting, underwear and socks. Now, we take 3 pairs of underwear each because we do laundry every other day, I would say. And I've gone for, on this trip, which I think is really cool, but maybe I'm the only person in the world that finds socks cool. We've gone for darn tough socks that are merino wool, with the hope that they'll last us the entire trip. So these are the quarter sock ultra lightweight merino wool socks. We are having 1 pair for on the bike and 1 pair for off the bike. So it's 2 pairs of socks, which I think is pretty minimalist. And as for underwear, I've done a lot of research on this, which sounds really crazy, but for guys, your boxers or briefs or whatever else you choose to wear, they don't dry very well because they have a really thick waistband. So they sometimes take even like 2 days to be able to dry them. So I've done a lot of research and I found that the Uniqlo Airism men's boxers apparently dry really well because they don't have this big waistband. So I'm going to pick 3 pairs of those up for Sean when we're back in the UK. As for me, I just take a quick dry pair, and I also take 2 pairs of merino wool underwear for on days where I'm not feeling very well, or I need a little bit more coverage, or maybe I'm a bit cold. I choose to take 2 pairs of those as well. And that's about it really. I'm sure there's other things, obviously gloves for the motorcycle. We go with the rule that the rider takes 2 pairs because different climates and different things, and he needs the most feeling that he can. So Sean's taking these, they are I think they're the Rally. Yeah, the GTX Rally gloves. I haven't decided on the gloves that I'm going to be taking yet. We'll probably also take 2 snoods for the colder climates, and a beanie or a hat or a sun hat. But the main thing with an RTW is being flexible with this type of thing. Certain countries are going to be boiling hot, and certain countries we are going to be freezing. So it's all about being modular, but these are our base things that we know that at any time, anywhere in the world, we'll be able to have something to wear. So yeah, that's about it. I don't think I've done too bad a job explaining that as quickly as I possibly could. And now we only really have the top box left to do. So I think we've decided that Big Cat is going to be our health insurance for the 2-year trip, and that's kind of all sorted. But I found this the other day. It's called Global Rescue. It's like a rescue insurance, but it also has like a million other features to it.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned it the other day, didn't you?
But I wanted you to have a closer look at it before we kind of made the plunge in getting it and think that we really need it. On this page here, it's got a risk map of all of the countries, and I think when you're a member, you can actually request a report where they'll tell you if there's like an outbreak of any diseases, or if there has even like been political unrest or protest, which I think it's going to be really handy, isn't it?
Ah, yeah, just to log in to get the full report. But they show you severity scale of each country there, which is quite good. And there's like live updates flashing at the bottom here as well.
I think they've also got multiple apps that you can have on your phone to get in touch with them. But the thing that I found most comforting about it is that you can call them at any time with any questions that you have. So when we do go into countries that are maybe more of a medium risk, we can call them before and ask if there's anything actually going on that we need to be aware about, because sometimes it's so hard on the internet to find the actual information that you need.
Yeah, exactly, and they seem to have gathered all the information and just put it on the same place. So like ill or injured when travelling, transfer to a different care facility. Perhaps the hospital doesn't provide the care. Okay, so if you're in somewhere where the local hospital isn't up to scratch, they'll take you out of the country even and bring you to another country that has some good treatment for you.
That's good as well.
Medical questions. Sometimes you have a question about a symptom. Available 24/7, 365 days. Travel Protection membership team can direct you to the best local medical resources around the world, so you're not left guessing how to best address your health concern, right? So again, if you're not feeling well, one call to them and I'll tell you basically where to go. They're qualified as well, they're medical professionals.
I think that's so comforting when we're in certain situations, because we are going to be going through a couple of malaria zones, which we really need to be aware of our temperature, especially after we've been bitten and other things like that. To have them on the phone, it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's something like small and you don't feel like leaving your hotel if you're not feeling very well, or because sometimes you just brush it off and say, I'll see how I feel in the morning. At least you can just get on the phone and you can have some good advice from there. Because sometimes it's just nice to have a bit of reassurance. They might say, oh no, you're fine. It is just like you've got the flu. You haven't got some tropical disease. High risk activities. It doesn't matter if you're climbing Mount Everest, paragliding in the Everglades, or scuba diving off a remote island. Membership covers your adventure activities with no limits. Wow.
That's awesome.
Because that's another thing with a lot of these insurances. It's like in the small print, it's like, well, if you're here or if you're above this altitude, we're not going to get you. And they seem to be like you are just covered and you are protected, which is pretty good, isn't it?
I'm really impressed with it, and there's not many times you're impressed with an insurance company.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially that high risk, because as you say, I think riding a motorcycle through Kazakhstan in most insurances is classed as a high risk activity. So if we're covered for that, and as well as it says there, even a terror attack, a civil unrest, we don't even want to think about these things happening, but we also need to. It's
nice to have it out, isn't it?
It's a good option.
I think what's actually really useful is with some countries they're just not reported on by the media, so it's hard to know actually what's going there without a deep in-depth search. But as they've got this big team of professionals that are constantly updated, and I don't know what the app looks like, but I'm sure that's going to make it a lot easier. Before you get to a country, you could probably even call them up and they'll advise you as to where you should go or where you should avoid. So it's a really impressive resource.
So I think we should have that, and it will put everybody's mind at rest, including mine, as our next insurance. And then I think we're nearly there with everything. It even said on here that they'll help with the visas.
Oh, okay.
In certain countries.
Right, okay.
So they'll help guide you into exactly what you need, or making sure, because certain visas you need insurances for. But there's so much on here that they actually offer.
Well, that's their motto, is travel boldly. And that's what I want to do.
We've got the OEM Top Case, which is a lot bigger than the previous OEM Top Cases and has a new opening system with the button at the bottom. I think we've all seen that one by now. Again, we've got the net here like we have on the panniers. What we're going to keep in there is, stuff that you want to keep handy. We've got, for the moment, a little first aid bag there where we're going to keep paracetamols or some other things that we might just want to grab in the day. There's some antibacterial wipes there as well. But in the main compartment, it is really spacious. But in this one, we're going to have to keep a lot of equipment. So the camera, the drone, I think the hard drive, the wires, and some spares, electrical spares, maybe intercom spares and things like that. So I think it's going to be packed like this. This might change, but the first thoughts are the two camera bags there fit in quite well. So we've got the bag for the camera, so we'll be able to access that quite easily without having to take the bag out each time. And then next to that is going to be the drone bag. Again, that fits quite well into there, and we won't have to take the bag out each time. We can just take the drone out from the top. I found, and I tried lots of different types of boxes and things to fit in here, but I found that the GoPro boxes that we've had for some years now, they're quite good at storing things, keeping them safe because they're quite firm, but they're not that heavy. I can actually get 5 of those boxes in here. So that's pretty much going to be the limit of what I'm going to take for equipment wise. And I think that's going to be okay. One's going to be for hard drives, one's going to be for cables, one's going to be for spares, and I'm sure I'll find something else to put in these 2 here. And that's going to fill the bottom bit. So I think I've got 2 going that way, and then the others will stack vertically at the back. There's still lots of space down the sides here, so maybe we'll put the D-lock in there so it's easy to grab, or some water or things like that. But it's good to have a little bit of extra space. We've got this Life Straw water bottle, and you can actually put your Life Straw onto here. So if you find water or you have to drink water that you think might not be 100% safe, you can fill it up and you can drink directly through the Life Straw. Or you can actually use it as like a squeeze bag where you can squeeze the water through the filter. But when it's not in use, it takes up almost no space because it is a bag. What else we got in here? I think it's got Em's little shopping bag there for when she goes and grabs some food at the end of the day. That might come in handy. Sunglasses, they're always handy when you stop, especially when it's bright. Quickly grab them, you don't want to be searching for those. Passports will be in here. We're using the PackSafe little travel holder here. It's got credit cards, passports in here, and there's some zipper compartments in there as well. Em also got me a new wallet for the trip. I'm always happy to receive a new wallet. This one is also from PackSafe. It has multiple card holders in there. They're all protected. The contactless cards are protected against scanners. There's a small zip pouch in there. And it has 2 compartments for notes, so you can either put different currencies in there. And I think this back one is designed to be perhaps a little bit more discreet than the front one. So maybe keep the smaller notes at the front and the bigger notes in the back. But what I like about this is once it's closed, you can zip it all the way around. So when you take your wallet out of your pocket, there's no chance of any cards flying anywhere. That'd be embarrassing. There's also a small pocket at the back, which I'm not entirely sure what that's for. I'm guessing it's for small change and you can tip that out. But yeah, that's a good wallet. That'll be taken on the trip. The only other thing we've got in here at the moment are electrolytes that we'll add to water that we buy along the way. Tastes a bit nicer and keeps you hydrated. But we've still got a lot of space inside this top box. So it seems to like eat things really. And yeah, we might put some spare fuel in there for the burner, but we see. It's good to have a little bit of extra space. We have got the liner for this top case. Now, I washed the bike with this on the other day and not one bit of water got inside of there, and I made sure to give it a good blast with the pressure washer. But it's always nice to have, you know, a double safety, so we might put this liner in. This is the BMW liner, and it can double up as an auxiliary bag that can go on the top. Because again, on this pannier, you've got your footman loops on the top, and these bags are designed to fit exactly on top. These are also waterproof. They've got the zip on the top, and you roll them down and clip them on. And they also come with strap-ins that you can strap them directly onto these panniers. So that's almost everything, apart from a knife. I always carry my little knife with me here. This one's from Victorinox. It's a small Swiss knife. And yeah, it's always handy to have. It's got a few things that are quite useful. Nail, file, scissors, knife, corkscrew. And it's also got this little tiny screwdriver there which can come in handy for sunglasses and adjusting stuff, and that lives in the corkscrew. So that I'll probably keep in my pocket most of the time. But yeah, that's pretty much what we'll be keeping in our top case. It's probably going to change before we leave and during the trip, but it's good to know that the top case can hold a lot of things. Reunited and heading to London. We've hired a car because the train was going to cost us about £200 return. So we got this car for just over £200 and we've got it for 2 weeks, so it'll be handy when we get back. But we're going to London to go and try and get our Russian visas. Yeah, we're heading down to London now, and then we'll be staying there for a couple of days with my sister who lives in the area, and then we'll be getting the train into London tomorrow morning. Our appointment is at 11 o'clock, and I'm not too sure how long it's going to take, but it's going to be nice. I haven't been to London in ages with you. No, I haven't either. And the weather at the moment in the UK is spectacular. It's like pushing, what, 16, 17, 18 degrees, something like that. So it's really warm. So we're going to head to the services now,
get some snacks, and then do the rest of these hours down to London.
We've made it to the centre of London. It's actually a really nice day here in the capital today.
It is, and it's quite quiet. We just got off Angel tube station and we're making our way to the Russian visa application centre, where we're going to hand over our documents and our passports and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we have been pre-approved apparently, so documents that we've already submitted are supposed to be good. So hopefully it won't take too long. I think we're going to leave our passports with them and then they send them back to us at a later date. But it's a nice day in London today, and this afternoon we're going to have a little walk around the capital.
Yeah, it's been years since you've been in London, it really has.
It's been quite a few years. It's amazing to see the changes already when we took the train in. There's lots of new buildings, the skyline's looking really impressive, and yeah, the city is looking pretty clean, so we're going to have a good day once we get these visas sorted out. And we are done. That was actually quite a pain-free process there. The staff at the visa place were really nice actually, they're really friendly, weren't they?
Yeah, it was great. We had all the right documents and we'd also had that pre-check, which I think made things a lot easier. But they are saying it could take up to 4 weeks, which is a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah, as the itinerary is a little bit different than a normal tourist visa, they said it might take a little bit longer, so we'll have to see when we get our passports back, and that will govern actually the leaving date of this trip. But
yeah,
she did assure us that we should get it at least by the end of this month, so we'll be fine either way.
Yeah, but now we're going to spend the afternoon in a beautiful sunny London. We're going to head to Covent Garden with my big sister and have a little mosey around. I think there's some cool outdoor shops I want to head into to pick up some things.
They've pretty much got everything in here in London. In fact, there was a coffee roastery just outside the visa application centre where we went straight away after we did that, just to celebrate a successful application.
And it was fantastic coffee. And
Sure
we're just wandering through London now, and I think we were both a bit surprised about how beautiful it is.
Yeah, I've not spent so much time in London, and coming here today with the sun out, with the blue skies, it's really clean and beautiful, and yeah, it should be a great day in London. We are crossing over the Jubilee Bridges now, and we have a fantastic view of the London skyline there. We've got the London Eye just over there, Big Ben in the background, and Westminster. And I think just behind us over there is the old War Rooms. So we're going to walk across here now, head over to Westminster. But what a fantastic day we're having in London. It's actually turned out really good, because I think if we weren't coming here to get the visas, we might not have made it down to London while we're here. So I'm really glad that we have. Back to Victoria Station after a successful day getting the visa application in. We're going to head back to M's Sisters now for dinner and a relaxing evening, and hopefully we'll get those passports back within the next 20 days. Yesterday we were at a bike thing and Storm had all these goodies installed, including these Denali D7 Pro headlights, and we rode back in the dark last night and they were fantastic. In fact, they lit up the entire road. It was like riding in daylight again. But these are connected to the Hex Easy Cams, which are an amazing product because it means you can use all of your OEM switches to control them. And in fact, I think there's a few settings and features that I need to research on, and I think you can press the buttons a few times and it will change the settings, but I need to look into that a little bit later. But now I'm going to install this sticker on the front of the bike, which has got some of the companies that are actually supporting this trip. So it's going to go somewhere around there. So that's my next job. That's gone on pretty well actually. I think it looks very good as well, but that's all the accessories that we're going to add to Storm for now. So I think he's actually ready to go. We just need to decide what to put in the panniers, but we're almost there.
So it is the 20th of April 2025 and it's Sean and I's wedding anniversary today, and we're here in Manchester celebrating. We just had a wonderful lunch at this gorgeous little restaurant. Tomorrow we have quite an exciting day because we're going to be heading to the Chinese embassy to get our Chinese visa. Now the Russian embassy that we went to down in London, everything's sorted now and we have our visas for Russia, so that's really, really exciting. But we still have this one to get for the Chinese visa, so not sure how long it's going to take. Online I read it takes about 4 or 5 days, so we might have to push our leave date. We're not too sure and we're not thinking about it right now. We're just concentrating on celebrating our anniversary. We're going to head back to our hotel now. I think we're going to watch the Formula One and have an early night. But yeah, that's what we've been up to the past couple of days, but we'll catch back in with you tomorrow as we head towards the embassy to get our final visa.
As you can see from behind us, we are in Chinatown, Manchester. And today we were supposed to get our Chinese visa put in our passports, but we've had a little bit of a confusion today. It's only, what, a week before we'd hope to leave?
Yes, less than a week actually. It's 4 days, but that would have been the perfect amount of time if the Chinese system for getting a visa hadn't been completely overhauled overnight and all previous applications have been scrapped.
Yeah, we are not the only ones to be suffering with this problem. We overheard in the crowd there's lots of people that are quite frustrated in there, and rightly so, because there is, I think, there's 2 visa application centres for the Chinese visa in the UK, one here in Manchester and the other in London.
Yeah,
so
there might be one in Edinburgh, but
possibly.
You know.
But there's some people that have travelled literally hours here only to find out that their application doesn't exist anymore.
So when you log on, all of your 30 plus pages of application is just been deleted.
Yeah.
So we went this morning, got told we needed to reapply, and now we have to wait for the embassy to reapprove this visa, and then we have to come back into Manchester to hand our passports over, and then come back 4 to 5 days later to get the passports back. So it's added really a 2-week delay on our tour.
Yeah, I mean, there is a chance that we'll get the confirmation email soon, but then there's also a chance that, yeah, we could be waiting another 2 weeks for this, which is really frustrating because this was the last hurdle that we needed before hitting the road.
It was going too easy, it was going too easy.
Yeah, the Russian visa came back very easily. We got that without any problems. And obviously we couldn't apply for this one because they still had our passports.
So we've done everything we can, and now we're going to go and have a little wander around Manchester. I think in our heads we need to just finish off everything now, like we're leaving next week, get all the editing done that we want to, and maybe we can focus a bit on the route. I'm trying to see the positive side because in my head I'm going delay on another day, another day, another day.
Yeah,
but
it is frustrating, but at the same time we kind of had it in the back of our heads that this might happen. We're going to have to push our ferry date back. Yeah. But as soon as we get that one, we can head off.
As long as we get it, it doesn't matter. Are we in India? Are we back in India?
We might be. But it's quite fortunate that our family is not too far away from here. So for us, it's not the biggest inconvenience. But for other people that apply that are living a bit further away, it's
like if you lived in Birmingham, it's 2.5 hours, maybe even further.
And they're going to have to come back again to drop the passports off.
And then come back to pick it up because they don't offer a delivery service. The only good thing is that I can come alone to pick it up, so maybe you can get some other stuff done.
Yeah, that's not too bad then.
But yeah, let's go and have some lunch and focus on the positive things. It's just another delay, and it could be so much worse than this.
Could be raining as well. It's another beautiful sunny day in Manchester. Right, it's Monday and we are due to leave on Saturday, but the good news is that we have just picked our passports up from the Chinese passport office and we're all good to go. I think the only thing we need now, is the carnet de passage, but that we're going to have sent to us while we're on the way, aren't we?
Yeah, there was no way we were actually able to get it in these 4 weeks, and we don't actually need it until we get to Southeast Asia, so we actually have 6 months to get it, so there's no point in putting pressure on ourselves. To get it now, so we might as well concentrate on the other stuff that we can actually get.
Yeah, I think we'll do the application and call them later on this afternoon to get that underway. But we've got our visas, so that's the main thing. We can head off on Saturday knowing that we can keep going, really, can't we? So
yeah.
Should we pick up a few things in town while we're here?
Yeah, I think we need to do a big boots shop, and we also need to go to a couple more outdoor shops, but we're done, really. We really are ready. We've just got to pack up the bike. I'm feeling a lot more relieved having that
stamping the passport.
It is a big weight lifted off our shoulders because we weren't sure how long that was going to take, but I have to say they did a great job in turning that round pretty quickly.
Yeah. Can you believe it? We leave in 6 days.
No, we still can't believe it.
6 days.
We leave on Saturday, aren't we?
Oh, less. 5 days.
Less than, yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right.
Maybe we need to get some packing done a little bit sooner than we thought. There's one more thing that we need to do before we go, and Motul have sent us this oil analysis kit. So I need to send a little sample of oil to them, and they're going to analyze it and send us back the results, which could be quite interesting. And I think we've got an interesting project planned with Motul along the trip. We're going to keep on testing the oil and see what we find out for each one. So they sent us this syringe and a small little bottle and this hose. So I think we're going to take off the oil cap and see if we can siphon out some oil. This is the first time I've actually noticed that the oil filler cap is not where it normally is on the GSA. Normally it's on the cylinder head, isn't it? But now it's just tucked behind there and it's on the same side as the window. So I'm just going to take that off. And then I think we just feed this tube in. I'm hoping it's got some there. Oh yeah. It looks a lot, but I don't think it actually is. There's 30 ml there. I'll try and get that into the sample bottle now. Right, I think I'll just take it out and put it in directly. It's a bit on the driveway. I feel like I've taken out half the oil, but it's actually a fraction of what's in there, I guess. The oil actually looks quite clean. I know it's only recently had a service. Right, just put the cap back on and got our sample to send off. We're going to send this off to the Motul lab. Small little sample like that. I think you just fill in this form here with your bike make and model on and how many miles the oil's been in the bike for. And they will analyze this and they'll let you know things like, I don't know, like how your air filters are, because apparently they can even tell if you need to change your air filters. Obviously, a new bike like this won't need anything like that doing, or hopefully, but it's a good benchmark for as we keep going on this trip as to how it should have been at the start. So yeah, we're going to send that off, and they've had some interesting stories where someone has sent oil off to them and they said, like, you need your air filters changing, and he said no, I've just had them done. But he actually checked them and they'd forgotten to do it, and they can tell that just from the oil. So going to be quite interesting to see what they can find out about the oil as we go along this trip. Well, we're as prepared as we can be, as tomorrow we're going to be heading off on our life-changing adventure.
Yes, so it is our last night here in Wales, which has kind of a melancholy sadness to it, but there is also a lot of excitement in us. But it's kind of a really weird time, but as Sean said, I don't think we can prepare anymore, even though I do feel very underprepared still, even after everything that we've done.
Yeah, as you say, there are a lot of mixed feelings at the moment, because I think we've been back in Wales longer than we'd planned, and it's not like we've settled back here, but we've had time to spend with family.
We've slotted back into life, really.
We have, and it's been so nice just to pop over for a cup of tea and you know, have simple dinners with family and stuff. That yeah, now we have to leave now. So, but very exciting for the things to come.
Yes. So the next time you'll see us, we'll be on a ferry heading across the sea towards Rotterdam, and that's going to be the start of our adventure, because all great things start on a boat.
They do. You have to start every motorcycle adventure with a ferry journey, I say. It wouldn't be right if we did. So yeah, catch us in the next episode as we start our round the world tour with a ferry from Hull to Rotterdam.